Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a little bit different, and honestly, I've been looking forward to this one all week.
Oh yeah, me too. It's a completely different speed for us.
It really is. Usually when you and I talk about music, whether it's on the radio or we're discussing a new album drop, we usually talk about the vibe. We talk about the beat, the production, maybe the flow. We treat it as audio candy.
Right, exactly. The passive listening experience.
Yeah, but today is not a music review.
Not even close. We are putting that passive listener mode straight to sleep for the next hour or so. Today is what I like to call a rigorous lyrical hermeneutics session.
Hermeneutics. I love when you bring out the $10 words right at the top of the show.
I had to. It sets the tone, right?
Definitely sounds fancy.
It does, but it's actually a very practical tool. Hermeneutics is basically just the science of interpretation. It's a framework that is usually reserved for, ancient religious texts or complex philosophy, maybe high-level poetry analysis in a graduate seminar. But we are going to apply that exact same level of forensic scrutiny to a modern track.
So we are stripping back the mellower, totally forgetting about the bass line for a moment, and strictly analyzing the text of the song Risk versus Reward by the artist A.I. Skilly.
From the album E. Skilly Experience.
Exactly. And having gone through the source material and the notes you prepared for us today, I can honestly say I will never listen to this song the same way again. It is just incredibly dense.
It's a labyrinth. Our mission for this deep dive is to adopt the roles of literary analysts and musicologists. We aren't just looking for clever rhymes here. We're looking for the architecture underneath those rhymes.
Unpacking how simple couplets are actually masking these crazy triple entendres.
Yes, the intertextual references and really complex narratives about what we're going to call the hustler's dilemma.
Okay, so lay out the framework for us. How are we tackling this beast? Because looking at the notes, there's just a lot to unpack.
There is. So we're going to build this analysis on 4 specific pillars based on the source notes. Think of this as our analytical toolkit. First, we have metaphorical decoding.
Right, okay.
This is that classic literary distinction between the vehicle, which is the image used, and the tenor, which is the actual meaning.
So like when he says car, he might actually mean status. When he says girl, he might mean drug. That distinction between the symbol and the reality.
Exactly that. Pillar number 2 is thematic mapping. We need to look at how these motifs connect to tell a cohesive story. Because it's not just random lines strung together. There is a very deliberate narrative arc here.
Okay.
Pillar number 3 is word choice and etymology. We really need to weigh the vocabulary, like why choose a clinical word in one bar and a harsh slang word in the next. Words have weight and we need to feel it.
And the 4th pillar?
Subtextual insight. This is the psychological profile. What is going on in the narrator's psyche? What's the unspoken narrative that drives the tragedy of the whole song?
I really love that approach. And the core conflict here, right from the title Risk versus Reward, is pretty stark. It feels like an economic thesis, but it plays out like a gritty street drama.
It is an economic thesis, but it's applied to a moral hazard. It's about this conscious effort to do right in a situation where doing wrong feels like the literal only viable option for survival.
It's that age-old question for you listeners out there. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the risk actually worth the reward? So let's jump into the high-level summary before we get into the nitty-gritty of the verses. What is the overall intent of this song?
At its heart, this is a tension narrative. It's the tension between the desire to bounce back into legitimacy to live a normal, safe life and the gravitational pull of the streets, or what the lyrics call impossible missions.
It's a narrative arc we've seen a lot in cinema. Think of movies like Carlito's Way or Uncut Gems. But here it's completely condensed into just a few minutes of audio. You have this protagonist attempting to leave the game, feeling the massive pressure of appearing broke to his peers, and ultimately deciding to just make one more run.
The one more run fallacy. It's so central here. But the primary tool Skilly uses to tell this story, and honestly, this is the key that unlocks the entire text, is the girl motif.
Yeah, this was the biggest aha moment for me going through the notes. If you aren't paying attention, if you're just listening passively in your car, you absolutely think this is a love song.
Oh, 100%.
Or maybe a song about a really messy, toxic relationship with a woman.
And in a way, it is a toxic relationship, but the source notes explicitly confirm that this girl or woman mentioned throughout the track is almost always a metaphor for the drug game itself.
Which is just wild. It operates as a love story and a crime thriller simultaneously, which is genius marketing, really, because it allows the song to be played on the radio as a standard relationship track.
While the streets hear the actual code, it's brilliant personification because it gives the abstract concept of selling drugs agency. It gives the game seductive power, jealousy, and the ability to betray you.
It explains the addiction, not just to the substance, but to the lifestyle itself.
Exactly. It is so much harder to walk away from a girl who needs you than a regular job that pays you.
All right, let's get into the text. We're going to start with verse 1. The song opens with a line that, according to our notes, is a masterclass in wordplay. The lyric is, "How a little white put me on impossible missions."
A little white. Let's just unpack this slowly because this is our first encounter with a triple entendre.
3 meanings in one short phrase. He sets the bar for complexity immediately.
Right out of the gate. Meaning number one is the literal social interpretation. A little white could refer to a white person, perhaps a connection, a buyer, or someone in a position of power who put him initiated the whole scenario.
So that establishes a social hierarchy right away. He's not the boss. He was put on the mission by someone else. Okay, that's the surface level. What is level 2?
Level 2 is the product. White is the ubiquitous street slang for cocaine. So a little white put him on an impossible mission, meaning the pursuit of selling this drug is what started the chaos. The substance itself is the catalyst.
And the third, because this is the one that really reframes the whole genre of the song for me.
The third is a pop culture reference. Impossible missions. Think about it. Who is the absolute face of the Mission Impossible franchise?
Tom Cruise.
And physically, how is Tom Cruise often described in Hollywood circles?
He's a shorter guy.
Yeah.
Little white guy.
Exactly. So in this specific lyrical code, Tom Cruise is the little white actor. Using little white as a metaphor for Tom Cruise connects directly to the phrase impossible missions.
That is wild. So you have a social reference to a person, a drug reference to cocaine, and a cinematic reference to Tom Cruise, all perfectly layered on top of each other in literally 5 words.
And ask yourself, why start here? Out of all the ways to open a track, why is this the opening line?
Well, that sets the stakes, right?
Precisely. Whether it's a person, a powder, or a movie illusion, the protagonist is immediately framing his life as an action movie. He is facing a task that is, by definition, impossible.
He's not just a dealer on a corner. He's Ethan Hunt hanging from the ceiling on a wire.
It romanticizes the struggle and highlights the extreme danger simultaneously.
It frames the narrator as the underdog hero, or maybe anti-hero, right from the jump. Then we move to the very next line. Bet it on black, it was over, I'm finished.
Bet. In this context, our notes identify bet as a name flip. It refers to an African-American person, black, or perhaps the narrator himself. He is betting on black, he is betting on himself to win.
And he says it was over, I'm finished. This sounds like retirement, like he got out of the game, the credits are rolling.
But then comes the shift, the inevitable relapse. Then I bounce back off of cola and women.
Now, knowing what we know about the girl metaphor, women here isn't just romantic partners, and cola is a very specific word choice.
Cola is likely a reference to cocaine. Coca-Cola. And women, as we've established, represents the game. But look at the phrasing there. Bounce back off of cola and women.
To bounce back usually means to recover from a loss, to get back on your feet.
Exactly. But in the street context, to bounce back often means to re-up and sell again to make your money back after a hit. So this line signifies the moment the narrator actually gave up hustling, I'm finished. But then use these vices, the cola and women, to recover his status.
It captures that cycle of relapse perfectly. Just when you think you are completely finished, the cola and women pull you right back in. The impossible mission just continues.
Then we get right into the psychology of appearance versus reality. The lyric goes, thinking I'm broke. That was all appearance.
This is such a relatable feeling, even if you aren't in the streets at all. Just the pressure to look successful. We see it on social media every single day.
The narrator begins explaining the reasoning behind the hustle here. He feels judged. He feels like people look at him and see failure because he isn't flashing wealth. And here, the girl metaphor shifts slightly to represent the seduction of the game as a solution to this perception problem.
The game promises to fix his image.
Yes. The game says, I can make them respect you.
And he justifies his camouflage with this next line. It's big money in jeans that's bought on clearance.
I love the stark contrast there. Big money hidden inside clearance jeans.
It's the hustler's camouflage. It's what intelligence agencies call the gray man concept. You blend in so nobody looks twice.
It is. It's the idea that true wealth doesn't always flash. But it also speaks to the intense internal conflict. He has the money, he has the reward, but he's still wearing the clearance jeans. Why?
To hide from the police.
Yeah.
Or maybe to hide from the stick-up kids.
Both. It brings up the question of what the money is actually for if you have to hide it in cheap denim. You can't enjoy the reward because the risk is simply too high.
It's a total paradox.
Yeah.
You are rich in secret, but poor in public. Then we get some sensory wordplay that really defines the environment he's operating in, rolling up loud like I'm hard of hearing.
Loud! Anyone who listens to hip-hop knows this one, but let's break it down for the uninitiated just in case.
Yeah, let's do it.
Loud is slang for potent marijuana. It has a loud or very pungent smell, so on the literal level, he's just rolling up a joint. But the simile, like I'm hard of hearing, plays on the literal meaning of auditory volume.
So it beautifully connects the sense of smell to the sense of sound.
Right. Meaning A, the weed is strong. Meaning B, the music in the car is up so high it's like the driver is physically deaf.
And that links directly to the next line. Want to be down to cause a car I'm steering.
It connects social status right back to the vehicle. People want to be down. They want to be associated with him, not because of who he is as a person, but because of what he drives.
It reinforces that whole theme of superficiality we just talked about.
Yeah.
They see the loud car, they don't see the Clarence Jean's anxiety underneath it all.
And then we hit the catalyst. The moment everything in the narrative changes. The real pivot point.
The lyrics are, rough night when I lost my earrings, drunk night she forgot her piercings.
This is narrative gold. It describes a highly specific incident. A rough night. A drunk night.
She forgot her piercings. So who is she in this context?
Based on her metaphorical framework, the game.
The game. The past life. So this represents that call from an old contact. A girl using a trivial excuse, like I forgot my piercings, to re-enter his life.
We've all had that text, hey, I think I left my sweatshirt at your place.
Yeah, exactly. And it's never actually about the sweatshirt.
Never. And here it's not about the piercings, it's the excuse to come back. The game is calling him up, pretending it's about something small, but really it's about pulling him right back in.
And the lyrics follow that pull immediately. Calling us, you want to be a part of my life, part of me. It's hard for me to call it a night.
Pardon me. He's apologizing. Maybe to himself, maybe to a legitimate partner he's trying to settle down with, or maybe to God. It's hard for me to call it a night. He just can't hang up. He can't close the door on her.
And then comes the decision that really defines the whole song. One more run last time, then I'm done. Who the hell am I kidding? Get the money and run.
The absolute collapse of his resistance.
One more run. That is the lie. Every single gambler, every addict, every hustler tells themselves. Just one more score.
It is the textbook one more run fallacy.
Yeah.
But look at the sheer self-awareness in the very next breath. Who the hell? I'm kidding. He knows it's a lie. He knows he's not done after this.
But he decides to get the money and run anyway. He actively accepts that the reward outweighs the risk. Or at least he heavily convinces himself it does for tonight.
And that fatalistic decision leads directly into the chorus. And the source notes describe this chorus in a very specific, very powerful way.
They call it a hustler's Negro spiritual.
Which signals a massive genre shift in the middle of the track. We go from the witty, sharp, double entendre-laden verses, the street smarts, to something much more primal and desperate.
The tone completely changes. It becomes a literal plea.
Let's look at the words. Keep me safe through all wrongs. Swear this place is all wrong. Holding on with strong arms.
He's praying.
He is. He is actively navigating wrong actions, trafficking, risk, danger, while simultaneously praying to God for protection.
It creates this intense cognitive dissonance.
Right. It's the paradox of the bad man with the believer's heart. He's asking for safety while actively committing the crime. Keep me safe through all wrongs. Note the plural wrongs. He knows he's sinning.
It adds such a heavy layer of atmosphere to the production. It's not just about getting rich anymore. It's about bare survival. Put my life on the line.
It elevates the song from a standard street anthem to a real tragedy. He knows this place is all wrong. He is fully aware of the moral decay around him, but he's holding on with strong arms.
He's trapped.
He's trapped. The spiritual element highlights just how much of his own soul he is risking for this financial reward.
Moving into verse 2, if verse 1 was about the setup and the decision, verse 2 feels like the escalation of that decision. And we start with some really heavy intertextuality.
The line is, Biggie and Method injected a critical message about a real-life perception.
Biggie Method, some notorious B.I.G. and Method.
Yes. This is a direct reference to their classic collaboration, the song The What.
Oh, I know that track. It's an absolute classic.
The expert notes point out that the hook of The What suggests treating the world well, somewhat coarsely. To quote the exact explanation from the source material, treat the world like a vagina.
Meaning Meaning just don't care about it, just use it.
Meaning viewing the world as something to be conquered, used, and perhaps immediately discarded. It is a highly nihilistic, exploitative approach to existence. And Skilly references this directly in the very next line. Treat this world like girls coming out of their dresses.
It's a continuation of that total don't care attitude. And it links right back to the girl and game metaphor. If the world is a girl and the game is a girl, you treat them both the exact same way. You strip them down, you extract value.
But then the pressure really mounts. Overnight bag, she applying the pressure?
The she again, the game.
The game wants him fully involved. An overnight bag implies travel, sudden movement, running. The game is aggressively demanding his time. She is possessive.
And then we get to what might actually be the single most complex bar in the entire song. This is the one I really needed the notes for to fully grasp.
Laid on me. This is the absolute centerpiece of our hermeneutics session today.
Okay, here it is. So I gave her D and A for effort.
D and A. This is the masterpiece triple entendre of the track.
Walk us through it, slowly, because it's a lot.
Okay, meaning one. The sexual context. D as a widely used slang term for male genitalia. The D. He gave her the D. It fits with the girl metaphor on the very surface. It just sounds like a typical rap boast about sexual prowess.
Okay, that's the crude surface layer. What is meaning two?
The academic context. A for effort. You get a grade in school. D, as in the letter D and A. He's literally grading her performance.
And meaning three. Because this is the one that connects back to the core risk theme and just turns the whole line completely on its head.
D and A stands for district attorney.
The DA.
Think about what that actually implies for a second. I gave her the game effort, and I got the DA.
Wow. So the effort you put into the drug game directly results in the district attorney coming for you.
Exactly. It links the sexual metaphor directly to the legal consequences. The reward of the girl, the game, is actually the risk of the DA. It is a dire warning hidden inside a boast.
That is just incredible writing. I gave her DA for effort. It sounds like he's bragging about sex, but he's actually confessing to his own future prosecution.
And he doesn't stop there. He continues with the performance and rewards metaphors. Shorty gave brain grade A professor.
Again, surface level is oral performance.
Deep level. The game strictly requires intelligence. Grade A professor. You have to be incredibly smart to survive. You cannot be a dummy and successfully run this impossible mission.
And then the rewards are tallied. She even left me L and a G on the dresser.
Another triple entendre. Skilly is honestly just showing off at this point in the verse.
Breakdown time. Let's hear it.
Option 1, drugs. L is an L, which is street slang for a blunt or a rolled marijuana cigar. G is a gram of marijuana. She left him drugs.
Option 2.
Money and drugs. L is still the blunt, but G is a grand, $1,000 cash.
And option 3.
Material goods. LG is the massive electronics company. She left him an LG flat-screen TV on the dresser.
So whether it's weed, a stack of cash, or a flat-screen TV, these are all the quote-unquote prizes the game leaves you with.
But notice where they left. On the dresser.
That's not romantic at all.
It's entirely transactional. It's what you leave a prostitute or what a guest leaves a host in a cheap motel room. It heavily reinforces that this relationship with the girl, the game, is purely business.
Yeah.
There is zero love here, just a cold exchange of goods.
And speaking of the business side, we get a quick callback to the first verse. I'm always on a mission. I'm needing another movie.
Structural analysis time. This directly calls back to the Mission Impossible Tom Cruise metaphor from line 1.
He needs another movie. He needs another job, another score.
It reinforces the cinematic nature of this lifestyle. He actively feels like a character in a film, but the reality is so much harsher than Hollywood. I'm always getting hated by people that never knew me.
The note identified this as a specific reference to snitches and stick-up kids.
Right. In the movie of his life, these are the faceless antagonists.
Wow.
People who just want to rob those with money. The external risks, it's not just the DA and the system hunting him. It's the streets themselves. He is totally surrounded.
Then we get another explicit definition of the Shorty metaphor. Shorty was a cutie. She gave up her little booty, truly unruly lady move, just like a groupie.
The notes are very explicit here. Shorty is defined as a metaphor for drugs. The fact that she moves like a groupie implies that she goes to absolutely everyone.
There are multiple dealers.
Yeah.
The game isn't loyal to you. The drugs aren't loyal. They just go to whoever has the money today.
Exactly. Truly unruly. You cannot control the open market. You cannot control the game. It moves exactly like a groupie, just following the fame and the cash wherever it goes.
And then Skilly breaks it down chemically. iced out white girls on ecstasy.
Now, this sounds like a crazy VIP party scene. Iced out usually means wearing lots of diamonds.
But look at the chemical decoding provided in the notes.
Ice, methamphetamine,
White girl,
cocaine,
ecstasy.
MDMA.
So he's literally listing his inventory in one line. Methamphetamine, Molly.
Or the alternate reading, Caucasian girls wearing diamonds, loving life at a club. It works flawlessly both ways. It captures the glamour and the grit simultaneously. The white girl is both the customer and the product.
And then the verse essentially concludes with the final choice. You ain't with none of that. I got the greenery.
He's a full-service shop. If you don't want the hard stuff, the ice or the white, he has the weed, the greenery.
A bad chick in a bottle.
A bad chick meaning a new hustle, a new girl, a completely new product to push.
Until then, more drugs, more plugs to meet.
He is all in the game again. Any hesitation from verse 1 is completely gone. He is fully immersed. The machine has swallowed him whole.
But then we get that heartbreaking line at the very end of the verse. I love these streets, but they ain't loving me.
That right there is the thesis statement of the tragedy.
It's the stark realization that the relationship is completely abusive.
He loves the adrenaline, the fast money, the mission, the movie. But the streets, they offer him nothing but risk. The DA, the stick-up kids, the looming prison sentence, they don't love him back. They just consume his life.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the thematic mapping pillar we talked about. We've traced this girl motif through the whole song, and it shifts, doesn't it?
It's fascinating to see its evolution. In verse 1, the girl is the ex-girlfriend calling. She is the temptation, the fading memory of the game.
Then in verse 2, she becomes the sexual partner. The active engagement, applying pressure.
And by the end of verse 2, she is the bad chick, the new hustle.
This personification just does so much heavy lifting for the listener. It makes the abstract concept of selling drugs feel deeply intimate.
And betrayal-prone. Because we all intrinsically understand a toxic relationship. We understand the girl who calls you at 3 a.m. By mapping the drug game onto that emotional template, Skilly makes us feel the actual addiction, not to the substance, but to the chaotic lifestyle.
I also want to transition and talk about the word choice pillar. We touched on it a bit, but the weight of the vocabulary is so incredibly deliberate.
There is a very distinct contrast between the visceral and the clinical throughout the track.
Give me an example of that.
Look at the word injected. Biggie and Method injected a critical message. That is a clinical, almost medical word. It strongly suggests a needle. It perfectly fits the drug theme. But it's paired with Biggie and Method, which is purely cultural.
And then you have greenery versus ice.
Greenery is soft, natural, organic sounding. Ice and White Girl are harsh, synthetic, cold. The vocabulary perfectly mirrors the actual products. The weed is greenery, it's safer. The meth and coke are ice and white, they are cold and dangerous.
And let's go all the way back to that word impossible.
The weight of impossible in the very first line. Why is the mission impossible?
This is the game is rigged from the start.
Exactly. The system, the DNA, is designed to catch you. The streets, the stick-up kids are designed to rob you. Success is statistically impossible, yet he still accepts the mission.
We also talked about the etymology of the slang used. Loud, ice, white.
These are words repurposed from standard English. Loud usually means auditory volume. Here it means smell and potency. White usually is a color or a race. Here it's a very specific product. This code switching is absolutely essential to the tenor of the song. It excludes the outsider. If you know, you know. If you don't, you just hear a fun song about a loud car and a white girl.
Which naturally leads us to our final pillar, the subtextual insight. What is the true unspoken narrative here?
We touched on the psyche of the narrator a bit, but I really want to go deeper into that one more run moment.
Because the song starts with risk versus reward.
But by the end of the analysis, does the narrator actually have a choice?
It feels like a total illusion of choice.
The subtext reveals a vicious cycle of addiction. And I don't just mean he is addicted to using the drugs, though the cola line strongly suggests he might be. I mean he is addicted to the identity of the hustler.
He identifies as the guy on the impossible mission. Without that, who even is he? Just a regular guy in clearance jeans.
Precisely. If he stops the mission, the movie ends. And if the movie ends, he's a nobody. And the DA subtext is absolutely crucial here. The triple entendre of DNA suggests that deep down in his subconscious, he knows the inevitable end is prison. He literally says, I gave her the DA for effort. He is openly telling us that his hard work equals his own incarceration. That is a profoundly fatalistic psyche.
It's like watching a Greek tragedy unfold.
Yeah.
You know Oedipus is going to fall, and Oedipus sort of knows it too deep down, but he just keeps walking forward anyway.
It's the modern hustler's tragedy.
Let's reflect on the lyrical craftsmanship for a moment. The density of information here is just overwhelming.
It's not just rhyming, it's high-level coding.
So why do it? Why use triple entendres instead of just saying, hey, I sell drugs and I'm scared?
Two main reasons. One, it's the art form itself. It's the ultimate display of skill. Grade A professor, remember? He has to actively show he's smart. In hip-hop, lyrical complexity is a literal currency.
And the second reason?
Simple survival. The complexity of the lyrics mirrors the complexity of the narrator's life. He has to speak in code to survive. He has to constantly evade the DA. He has to evade the snitches. If he speaks plainly, he gets caught. The structure of the song is the structure of the hustle. Ambiguity is his armor.
That is a really profound thought. Ambiguity is armor.
And then you have that massive spiritual contrast right in the middle, the chorus versus the verses.
The daily grind versus the desperate prayer.
This juxtaposition creates the real emotional core. You have the mechanical, highly dangerous mission in the verses, triple entendres, codes, money, drugs, and then in the chorus it all just drops away and you just have a bare human soul crying out, keep me safe.
It reminds us that there's an actual human being inside those genes bought on clearance.
Exactly, and that human being is utterly terrified.
So as we start to wrap this deep dive up, what does this all mean for you, the listener?
It brings us right back to the title, risk versus reward.
The central question of the whole track.
If the girl is the game, and the game inevitably ends with the DA or the stick-up kids, is the reward ever actually attainable?
Or is the risk the only true guarantee?
That's the heavy question AI Skilly leaves us with. The reward seems to be just the chance for one more run. The reward is just the ability to keep playing a rigged game for one more day.
Which isn't really a reward at all when you think about it. It's just delaying the inevitable collapse.
Precisely. It turns the hustle from a glamorous path to glory into a terrifying hamster wheel of anxiety.
This has been, honestly, pretty heavy, but incredibly illuminating. We came for the beat, but we stayed for the triple entendres and the tragic narrative.
It is a masterpiece of lyrical compression, a whole life story, a whole economic critique, packed into just a few minutes of rhyme.
I want to encourage everyone out there to go listen to the track again, right now.
Yes, and listen with these specific decodings actively in mind.
When you hear Little White, I want you to literally see Tom Cruise hanging from the ceiling in Mission Impossible.
And when you hear DNA, I want you to see the cold reality of the courtroom.
Keep listening. Keep decoding.
And always, always check the subtext.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll catch you on the next one.